In this video, I will explain you about knowledge management and information technology. Means how knowledge management and information technology are related. Okay, what are the advantages of using information technology in managing knowledge, or you can say the knowledge management. So step by step, I will explain you in detail. So before going into detail, so what it is knowledge management? It is a type of IT enabled organizational relationship that has important. So now you can see a type of IT enabled. So in knowledge management, what we do, we use IT, information technology. So a type of IT enabled organizational relationship that has important implications for both organizational learning and decision making. Okay, so it is a type of here. Let me select this. So if I select, okay, which color, okay, then this color will be okay, yes, okay. Now you can see here it is a type of IT enabled. So what it is here, it is written IT enabled organizational relationship. Okay, so knowledge management is IT enabled organizational relationship that has important implications for both organizational learning and decision making. Okay, it means knowledge management, it is important for organizational learning and decision making. So how you see knowledge management, codification versus personalization. Okay, so here two things are given, codification and personalization. Organizations should choose between a codification and personalization approach to creating an IT based knowledge management system. So whenever any organization is choosing IT based knowledge management system, then in that case the organization should choose, means whether the organization want codification or personalization in managing knowledge. So here with a codification approach, knowledge is carefully collected, analyzed and stored in databases where it can be retrieved easily by users who input organization specific commands and keywords. Okay, here what happens here in codification approach? In codification approach, whatever knowledge you know what collected, so whatever knowledge is collected, analyzed and stored. So okay, means here knowledge collected should be analyzed and stored in databases from where anyone can retrieve whenever there is requirement for the knowledge. It results in collection of a standardized organization best practices. Now you see here standardized, it is related to a standardized organization, best practices, rules, a standard operating procedure that can be drawn upon by anyone who needs them. Okay, means it results in collection of a standardized organization, practices, rules, standard operating procedures that can be drawn upon by anyone who needs them. So here in simple words we can say that in the codification approach, knowledge is carefully collected, analyzed and stored in the databases from where anyone can retrieve who require, means authorized person can retrieve that whenever there it is requirement. And this approach, means codification approach, results in a standardized organization best practices, means here it is related to a standardized organization best practices, rules and standard operating procedures. Personalization approach. Now second approach given here, personalization approach. So what happens here? A personalization approach to knowledge management is pursued when an organization needs to provide customized products or solutions to clients, where technology is changing rapidly and when employees rely much more on know-how, insight and judgment to make decisions. So in these cases it is very difficult to write down or even verbalize a course of action that leads to a solution. So now you see what here it is written. A personalization approach to knowledge management is when, now you see, in which case we use personalization approach when an organization needs to provide customized products. Now you see, when an organization needs to provide customized products or solutions then to client, then in that case we use personalization approach. So here also one more thing. So here when technology is changing rapidly, so now you can see whenever customized products or solutions are to be provided to clients, or we can say when the technology is changing rapidly. So in these cases employees rely much more on know-how, insight and judgment to make decisions. Okay, it means whenever there it is uncertain, it means when the environment is unknown. Okay, and in cases where changes are frequent, when with the passage of time so many changes happen in the environment, then in that case we need personalization approach to knowledge management. So knowledge management is an important tool for increasing the level of integration inside an organization among people, functions and even divisions. Now you see why it is important. So it is an important tool. Okay, knowledge management is a type of tool for increasing the level of integration. Okay, for increasing the level of integration inside the organization, we need knowledge management. Inside the organization also, among people in the organization, functions or even divisions, in these all cases we need knowledge management. So factors affecting organizational learning. What are different factors which affect how organization learn, means organization learning. So see here, if an organization achieves success by using its standard procedures, this success may lead to complacency and deter managers from searching for and learning from new experiences. So now you see here given, if an organization achieves success, then in that case, if any organization achieves success by using some standard procedures, then in that case if environment changes in the future, then the organization will hesitate to change itself, because the organization thinks that whatever standard procedures he used in the past, that it was better at that time and now it is also better. So means organizations hesitate to change because future is uncertain. So here that means a past success deter the organization to change and learn new things. It means here, that means past success means whatever procedures helped the organization to succeed in the past, those successful procedures in the past deter the organization, means block the organization to find new ways of doing things. It means block the organization for learning new things. Here written, thus past learning can inhibit new learning. Oh sorry, here it should be the past. Thus past successful learning can inhibit new learning and lead to organizational inertia. So that past learning inhibit the present new learning, and that is organizational inertia. Another reasons why past learning inhibits organizational learning is that managers' mindsets or cognitive structures shape their perception and interpretation of problems and solutions. Okay, so here cognitive structure of managers also shape. So okay, means how managers think. Okay, how managers think and interpret, means the way there it is, the cognitive structure of managers will shape the perception and interpretation of different problems and solution. Okay. So what are different types of problems are there, and what are different types of solutions are there? Okay. So managers mindset will influence those things. So that's why written managers mindsets or cognitive structures shape their perception and interpretation of problems and solution. It means their mindset influence or shape their perception and interpretation of problems and solution. So what it is, a cognitive structure? The system of interrelated beliefs, preferences, expectations and values a person uses to define problems and events. You see, the system of interrelated beliefs, preferences, expectations and values a person uses to define problems and events. So that is cognitive structure. So organizational learning and cognitive structure, how these two things are related to each other. So when a manager confronts a problem, his or her cognitive structure shapes the interpretation of information at hand. That is, the manager's view of situation is shaped by prior experiences and customary ways of thinking by manager's mindset. So now you can see here organizational learning and cognitive structure, how these two things are related. So that's here written, manager confronts. Whenever managers confront some type of problem, then in that case his or her cognitive structure will shape the interpretation of the information at hand. Means whatever type of problem is there, so due to what factor, due to what reasons those problems are there, so that type of interpretation by the managers will be shaped by the cognitive structure. Okay, and what is this cognitive structure? The way manager believe, the way manager give values, the way managers give preferences, and the way manager has different types of expectations. So these all things will shape his way of interpreting different types of problems and different types of solution also. So types of cognitive biases. So that means whenever managers make any decision, then his or her decisions are going to be influenced by so many factors. Okay. So here different types of cognitive bias. So what are different factors which influence the way managers interpret the problem and find out the solution? So that's here it is given biases. Biases means types of cognitive biases. Okay. Several factors that lead managers to develop a cognitive structure that causes them to misperceive and misinterpret information. So several factors that lead managers to develop a cognitive structure that causes them to misperceive and misinterpret information. These factors are called cognitive biases. Okay, those factors are called cognitive biases. So now several factors which cause them to misperceive and misinterpret information. Okay, so factors which cause them to misperceive and misinterpret information. So these factors are known as what? Cognitive biases. These factors are called cognitive biases because they systematically bias cognitive structures and affect organizational learning and decision making. So these factors, the way managers think, okay. So whatever it is, the cognitive structure of decision maker will cause them to misperceive and misinterpret information. Okay. And this misinterpretation of information is cognitive bias, you can say. It means the way information is misinterpreted comes under cognitive bias. So following are different types of cognitive biases. First given, cognitive dissonance. So what it is, cognitive dissonance? is a set of discomfort or anxiety that a person feels when there is an inconsistency between his or her beliefs and action. Now you can see here cognitive dissonance, it is what? Discomfort. It is a type of discomfort or anxiety that a person feels when there is inconsistency between his or her beliefs and action. So it means whenever there it is you can say a variation in between the person's actions and beliefs, then the person feels discomfort or anxiety. So such a discomfort or anxiety due to variation in the action and belief is cognitive dissonance. So according to cognitive dissonance theory, decision makers try to maintain consistency between their images of themselves, their attitudes and their decisions. So here according to according to cognitive dissonance theory, decision makers try to maintain consistency between their images of themselves, their attitudes and their decisions. So what here given? So maintaining consistency between their images of themselves and attitudes and their decisions. Okay, means they try that if there is variation in the way they think, means if they think that their actions are different from their beliefs, means the way they think about themselves or whatever their attitudes are there. So in that case if there are variations, then in that case the person will feel cognitive dissonance. Okay, and this cognitive dissonance, it is nothing but some type of discomfort or anxiety. So manager seeks to interpret information that confirms and reinforces their beliefs, and they ignore information that does not. So here managers seek to interpret information that confirms and reinforces their beliefs, and they ignores information that does not. So now here's the implication of this cognitive dissonance. The theory is that, so if any information it matches the manager's beliefs, then in that case the manager is going to accept that information, and if any information goes against his or her beliefs, then in that case he or she tries to ignore those informations. So managers also tend to seek information that is only incrementally different from the information they already possess, and that support their established position. Now you see, means their managers try to seek information that is incremental, means incrementally different from the information they already possess, means whatever information managers already have right now, so they try to get information, those information are slightly different from the present information. So that it was all about cognitive dissonance. Second factor which affects, so we are here getting cognitive structure following are different. Now you see what we are learning here, following different types of cognitive biases. So we are learning about cognitive bias. So first cognitive bias here, it is cognitive dissonance, that is the first cognitive bias. Second, it is illusion of control. Second, it is illusion of control, that is the second cognitive bias. So what is this cognitive bias? Illusion of control is a cognitive bias that causes managers to overestimate the extent to which the outcomes of an action are under their personal control and the extent to which they possess the skills and abilities needed to manage uncertainty and complexity. Okay. So here illusion of control, this is the second type of cognitive bias. Under this we can say that here managers overestimate the extent to which the outcomes of an action are under their personal control. Means in reality may be possible that the managers do not have real control of the situation, and maybe that they do not have required skills and abilities needed to manage uncertainty and complexity, but they think that they possess those all things. They possess skills and abilities to manage uncertainty and complexity. Okay, and they, in this way, they overestimate the extent to which they have control over personal and environmental factors. Third cognitive bias given, frequency and representativeness. So what this frequency and representativeness cognitive bias? So frequency. So now separately I will explain the first given, frequency. So what is this frequency? It is a type of cognitive bias that deceives people into assuming that extreme instances of a phenomenon are more prevalent than they really are. So so here it may be possible that the extreme phenomenon is rare, but people may think that extreme instances of a phenomenon are more prevalent. Okay, so this is frequency. And the second given, representativeness. So representativeness is a cognitive bias that leads managers to form judgments based on a small and unrepresentative samples. Okay, here a small means they form judgments on a small and unrepresentative samples. So that's here given representativeness. Okay, means whatever judgment managers make, so those judgments may be not representative samples, but they think that they are. So that's why here given judgments based on a small and unrepresentative samples, they make judgments. For example, here given exposures. Examples here you can see given, for example, exposure to couple of unreliable suppliers prompts managers to realize and believe that all suppliers are untrustworthy and unreliable, again leading to a faulty learning. So here for in the example given, there may be possibility that some suppliers are unreliable, okay, but managers start to think that suppliers are not trustworthy and they are not reliable, so which causes faulty learning. Okay, so they learn wrong thing, means not true things. Then projection and ego defensiveness. Projection given is a cognitive bias. Projection is a cognitive bias that allows managers to justify and reinforce their own preferences and values by attributing them to others. So what given? They justify and reinforce their own preferences and values by attributing them to others. So when projection starts to operate, it can become self-reinforcing. So now you see here the managers, in case of projection, is a type of cognitive bias where managers justify and reinforce their own preferences and values by attributing to others. They attribute that those things are done by others also. When projection starts to operate, it can become self-reinforcing. Everybody blames everybody else. So now here given, so projection, the consequence of projection is everybody blames everybody else and the culture of the organization deteriorates. So here the projection, the problem of projection results in that people in the organization start to blame each other and the culture of organization deteriorates. Second here given in this ego defensiveness. So ego defensiveness is a cognitive bias. Okay, so what it leads managers to interpret events in such a way that their action appear in most favorable light. So ego means they try to put things and they try to show in such things in such a way that they want that the people are going to favor their actions. So here given ego defensiveness results in little organizational learning and faulty decision making, ultimately leads to a manager's replacement or an organization's failure. So here managers interpret events in such a way that their action appear in most favorable light. It may be possible that the action of managers are not appropriate for the organization, but they try to put things in such a way that stakeholders are going to see that they are in a better position, means managers are in the better position, and which ultimately results to little organizational learning, because the manager is not able to see clear picture of the environment, means he is not able to understand the changes or how the things are going on in the organization. Fifth one given, escalation of commitment. So what happens here in this cognitive bias? Escalation of commitment is cognitive. Now this escalation of commitment leads managers to remain committed to a losing course of action and to refuse to admit that they have made a mistake, perhaps because of ego defensiveness or because they are gripped by the illusion of control. So now you see escalation of commitment, what here it says. It leads, this escalation of commitment leads managers to remain committed to losing course. May be possible that managers have taken wrong decisions, but they still commit to their decisions. They don't accept that they have made wrong decisions. So perhaps because of ego defensiveness. So maybe escalation of commitment may be due to ego defensiveness or because they are gripped by illusion of control. The reason may be ego defensiveness or the illusion of control also. So that's here given, the escalation of commitment. So the net effect of cognitive bias. What is the effect of these all cognitive biases? Managers lose their ability to see new problems or situations clearly and to devise new responses to new challenges, and the level of learning falls. So due to cognitive bias, what happens? The result is that there is fall in the level of learning. There is fall of level of learning. So that's here. So here what is next given? Improving decision making and learning. So let me check how much it is. If it will be less, then I will clear in this only, or otherwise I will move on. I think I should do this one in the next one.